Ladies and gentlemen, yeah, there's more stories coming out about black men switching political parties because they are frustrated by Joe Biden. So, this is coming out of Michigan. And, people are saying, especially black men, that they voted for Biden back in 2020, but this time around, and many in this Pontiac, Michigan neighborhood are saying they are not sure if they're going to give their vote to Biden this time around. Some are torn and some are certain they're not going to give Biden their vote. And of course, you always got the diehards that are going to vote Democrat no matter what. So, one of the men, his name is Killian Bay and Brian Killian Bay. And he said, you can't dangle a carrot and assume we'll vote for you because we don't like the other platform. Yeah, and I think that is another reason why many are still hesitant and they won't come out and say whether they're going to vote for Biden or not because they really don't like either candidate. And, you know, um, with Nikki Haley, I was looking and a lot of her supporters are saying if she drops out, they're voting for Biden. They're not going to give their vote to Trump. It's just interesting the direction that people are going in politically. So, anyway, um, political analysts say that the views that they're seeing and the waning enthusiasm among black voters, especially black men, towards Biden and the Democratic Party, a series of polls in recent months have alarmed party strategists and liberal organizers and reportedly frustrated the president, who is facing a tight race for reelection against former President Donald Trump. That is true. That is very true. There was a story, y'all, that came out, and the Trump administration was supposed to meet with Muslim voters because, because of the Israel Hamas war, a lot of them are saying they will not vote for Biden because of all of the support that he throws behind Israel. Well, they were supposed to meet with Biden administration, and at the last minute, the Muslims canceled. They said they don't even want to talk to Joe Biden and his people. I was like, wow. They had an opportunity to be addressed by his administration and they turned it down. They're saying they're not showing up and they're not going to meet with him at all. They're not interested. But that's really, something because it's been in the news now for probably a good year that a lot of people have misgivings about voting for Trump in the black community. You don't hear about them having any meetings, right? With any of us. Yeah. Interesting, Joe. Jim Crow Joe. So, anyway, back to this. So, a New York Times poll, a Siena poll back in October, found that 22% of black voters in 6 battleground states, including Michigan, would support Trump if the general election was held today, while 71% said back in October they would support Biden. Trump won support of just 8% of black voters in 2020. He got 6% of the black vote back in 2016, according to Pew Research Center validated voter study. Although a few strategists believe Trump could get as much as 20% of the black vote in this upcoming 2024 election. Even a small uptick could spell trouble for Biden. Yes, it could. If Donald Trump got the black vote in double digits alone, yes, that could be a big problem for Joe Biden. That could be a big problem because we know we're bigger than what they're telling us. So 20%, yeah, that's very significant. If he could pick off that amount of votes from Joe Biden, yeah, that is a big deal, especially if those votes come out of swing states with large shares of black voters, such as Michigan, where Biden edged Trump 50.6% to 47.8% back in 2020. A more realistic danger for Biden, political strategist says, is the dissatisfaction among some black voters may drive them to sit it out. You know what? Right now, it's a mixed message between those that will vote for Trump and those that will sit it out. And I think when they get into debates, people will determine then and there. When Joe Biden and Donald Trump get into a debate, I think that's going to determine who's going to go out and vote and who's going to just sit it out if they're not satisfied with what they're hearing. But all of the people that intend to vote for Donald Trump just kind of sit and wait and see what Donald Trump says. Because right now, all we see in the news are people that will say this time around they'll vote for Trump, but Trump has not provided any agenda. In fact, Trump is not even talking about the black voters that he's gaining. He's not talking about it at all on the campaign trail. And he's been campaigning since he left the White House, y'all. Donald Trump literally has been campaigning from that point on. He's been doing it for the last 4 years going on. And he's not making any mention about black voters moving from Biden to vote for him. He's not talking about any agenda. He's not presenting anything. And that being said, just be wary of voting for somebody that's not even addressing you or your issues. That's all I'm saying. Don't give a free for all to Republicans because they surely don't deserve it. And Biden don't deserve it either. But I'm just saying, don't be so quick to jump up and run to Biden. I mean, run to Trump when he hasn't given you anything. He hasn't not addressed our issues. He has not said anything. He certainly has not spoken about reparations. He did in the past, and he's not for it. But he's not speaking about anything. No crime bill. He did say he wants more police on the streets and he don't want to get rid of qualified immunity. He did say that. So just be wary about giving your vote to somebody that's not going to support an agenda for you. That's all I'm saying. So now, co-founder of Black Voter Matter Fund, Cliff Albright, said that while the polls do not mean the sky is falling for Biden's campaign, it might be just drizzling right now. He said conservative talking points have resonated with some black voters who feel disillusioned or have economic grievances, even though Biden has made some significant gains in reducing unemployment and creating jobs. So, yeah, I just don't like the way they write this, and they'll write, "Oh, for Black Americans." He didn't do that for Black Americans. He did that for everyone. Let's be real. So it's speaking to the idea that Democrats haven't done anything for you. They've let you down. They've taken you for granted. All right, said, but I always say in every piece of disinformation, there's a kernel of truth. Yeah, well, if we can't think of what he's done, then chances are he hasn't done anything. And let's be real, Kamala already said when she was running for president, if you think she gonna do something just for black people, no. Yeah, we already know what she said. The Biden Harris Democratic leaders have taken notice to the sinking enthusiasm among black voters, particularly those after a 10% point decline in black voter turnout in the 2022 midterms compared to 2018. The campaign has accelerated its effort to appeal to black voters, including a pilot plan which uses digital messaging and trusted messengers to spread the word about Biden's accomplishments. Well, according to James Clyburn, MAGA has been the reason why they haven't been able to get the message out, which is BS. I seriously doubt MAGA is blocking you from getting anything out. You didn't do nothing. That's why you're not getting anything out. So they're trying to dedicate $25 million in advertising campaign on a black and Hispanic media in swing states. We know we can't take any voters for granted, especially black voters, young voters, who've been a crucial block for the Biden Harris coalition. Yeah, y'all, back when I did that story on how the black community grew 32% over the last 2 decades. Now, if you notice, the Muslims are already saying they're not voting for Joe Biden, and they were supposed to meet with Biden administration and they canceled. You notice they're not all in the media screaming after the Muslims and why aren't you voting? But if we say we're going to sit this out and not vote, you notice how well, y'all should vote. What's going on? Or you got the Republicans now. Oh, look like the black people's coming to our side. Yeah, whatever. So, anyway, if it wasn't important, they wouldn't be chattering about it. And if you notice, every election cycle, the only vote they chatter the most about is the black vote. So think about that 13% of the population. There's no way 13% of the population can have any impact on elections in this country if we were really truly that small. But the fact that they spend so much time focused on us throughout every election cycle tells you we're way bigger than what they're saying. 13% can't influence anything. But if we were more like 30%, we could. Make no mistake, they hate that we have that kind of influence over elections. They don't want us to. So the administration says Biden has delivered for black voters in numerous ways. So this is what they're claiming. It's not reparations. It's not a crime bill. It's not doing anything with qualified immunity. It's none of those things. But this is the thing that Joe Biden is coming out to say that he delivered for the black community. Black unemployment rate hit an all time low at 4.7% last spring. Biden has created programs to boost historically black colleges, which most people in our community don't go to, by the way, and black owned small businesses. And then he goes on to say this is also what he's done for the black community. The Justice Department has launched investigations into law enforcement agencies for systemic misconduct. Okay, well, instead of using the DOJ, why don't you just do a crime bill? That's all the more reason to do a crime bill. instead of just going to the DOJ with random things that law enforcement did, because that's what it sounds like. Biden has diversified the courts in unprecedented ways. More black women have been appointed to federal circuit courts. Yeah, well, that's nice, but that don't put food on the table. Okay? That does not take away the wealth gap. I mean, let's be real. No, we can't brag on these things because it don't impact our lives like that. So, recently at a historically black church, they're talking about Mother Emmanuel. Every single solitary one counted, and we keep going. So he spoke to black voters, about initiatives that benefit them, when he was at the Mother Emmanuel Church. That's nice, but that's a very limited audience. Okay. And I wish y'all would stop going to black churches every 4 years when you want to address the black community. We don't see you going to Asian churches to address them. Okay, you just do this to us. Whenever you want to address any other group, you don't go to their churches. So anyway, he's talking about when talking to black audiences, for example, he frequently highlights pipe replacement program to reduce lead exposure, but yet Flint, Michigan is still going on, and so is Jackson, Mississippi. I'm just saying, a health risk that disproportionately affects communities of color. And stop addressing us as communities of color. Wow, Democrats, you got a long way to go. If this is what you're going to turn out as far as telling us what Biden has done, you are falling flat on this one, big time. Black voters for decades have been the most consistent supporters of the Democratic candidates in presidential elections. So, black turnout sharply rose in 2008, and then it declined in 2016 when former President Barack Obama was no longer on the ballot. But black men are more likely than black women to vote for Republicans. In 2016, 14% of black men supported Trump, compared with 4% of black women, according to Pew, a validated voter study. Helping fuel a Republican narrative that black men were potentially fruitful sources of converts. In 2020, 12% of black men supported Trump, compared to 5% of black women. But you know what? I don't want the Republicans up in our faces blabbing because, like I said, they don't have no agenda. And we need to make them understand you don't have our votes in your pocket. Because some of them are already trying to talk like that online. And it's not like that. We don't have no bond like that with you. So let's not try to act all brand new. Okay, so there's an assumption because Donald Trump, he'll have zero support from black voters. Well, that's not true. He'll always have more than zero. You know, many black voters are disappointed that Biden, despite his promises, failed to win a sweeping voting rights bill or police reform legislation. Exactly. He can get everything passed for any other group. But when it comes down to us, it's always some issue with the vote or they couldn't get this through. But we don't see them really trying to sell these bills or market the bills so that they can pass. We don't see the Democrats doing this. We don't see Joe Biden coming in the media saying you need to do something and get this bill passed for police. He don't do nothing. None of them do. None of them do. But they'll have their mouth wide open all in the media about Ukraine. Okay, he talks more about Ukraine than the things and the agendas for the black community. He will get in front of that camera all day long to talk about Ukraine. So, ladies and gentlemen, although there are some gravitating towards Republicans, just understand there are many that are not. And the sofa is going to become their best friend on election day. And, there are people raising the fact that all these protections are in place for the migrants, and those same protections are not afforded to the black community. So, they're pointing out how Biden looked out for the Asians by passing an anti Asian hate crime bill. And they're saying, well, where is our bill for the black community? Where is it? You know? And he's never going to answer that. And he's never going to address that. He's not. It's been 4 years. If Biden wanted to address a crime bill, he would have talked about it by now. He's not even going on the campaign trail. When he went to Mother Emanuel AME Church, he didn't even bring that up. He's not interested in doing a crime bill for the black community. That's why he does not bring it up or talk about it. And you seen Kamala out there, she's not talking about nothing like that either. So to me, all they want to do is talk about and kick around things about police reform and talk about reparations, but they're just trying to do that to lure you to the polls, and it's not going to go beyond that. So, y'all, please tell me what you think about this video. Yeah, they're losing black men, and they're going to continue to lose black men all throughout 2024. It's not going to change. Right now, the Democrats are literally not coming to the black community with not one single issue of what we want. They know what we want. You know how they know what we want because they know exactly what to avoid. That's how you know. They are fully aware. Y'all tell me what you think about this video. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.